Hey guys, today we are doing pickles, dill pickles right now. So I have a massive amount of cucumbers that I have been slicing up for a day and a half. A ton of them, like over 600, 654 to be exact. So I spent most of yesterday and the day before slicing up cucumbers, and I stored them in ice water to keep them crisp because there's no way I had that much room in my fridge to be able to, you know, keep them in there. So today I'm just going to give you a quick video. I've kind of got several stages going here at once because with that many you kind of have to multitask. So what we're going to do first is I've already, you can see my, let me show you real quick. These are the pickles that I've been doing. So, and there's a few that I've already got processed, and these are the ones that I have left. So, I've already pre-packed the jars with the exception of one so that I could show you what I got going on here. I do use the Mrs. Wages packs. Now this is a bread and butter pack here, but obviously for these we're using the deal. The last batch of bread and butter I used my own brine and it turned out amazing. But because I have so many that I'm doing this time just to make things a little bit quicker, I went in and picked up some mix last night for bread and butter. But for right now we're doing the deal, and you'll want to follow the recipes on the back of the package. And so I have some brine that's already going, I believe, for the double batches at a time. I round mine up just a little bit because I found that sometimes the brine doesn't cover, one package doesn't quite cover 7 jars, and that's what I found anyway. So for a double pack, I use 16 cups of water and 8 cups of white vinegar. And you get that on the stove, and you mix in 2 packs of the Mrs. Wages dill mix. And then as an added bonus, whenever I start my jars, I put a little bit of a half teaspoon of the pickle crisp granules. It's from the Ball Company. It just helps make it a little bit crisper. That's also why I keep my cucumbers. You can see I slice my cucumbers by hand because I really like to have a certain thickness. And these were mini cucumbers, the little organic mini cucumbers, and so I did them like that. So they're not all perfect, of course, because they're done by hand, but they're pretty close. So I also take a little bit of the dill seed and a little bit of the dill weed, and I just sprinkle in the jars. You can see in this jar, you can see that I already have some in there, along with the crisping granules. And so what you'll do is you'll just fill your jars up. Let me turn the camera down just a little bit. There you go. And then you're going to want to press them down in there because that's the worst thing, is to get your pickles done and then not, of course, have your hands clean and everything. You want to do that. Most of you know that, I hope. So I press down quite a bit, get as many as I can in there. And you don't have to add the extra dill seed or dill weed or anything, you know. Just gives it a little bit more of a taste there. So, and I will say that I do generally go by the regulations, but we have a saying down here in the South, my kitchen, my rules, and it's just the way I do things. So now that I have all these cucumbers here left, these are going to be the ones that we turn into bread and butter. So to keep them nice and fresh, I'm going to set them over, and I'll put some running water, some cold water in them, and then top them with ice. And then I'll have to go find some more jars and get them clean and sterilized and everything, and then we'll be back. But, so now we're going to bring the next step. Once you get your jars, of course you want to have your jars sterilized and your lids ready and everything. And I've already got all my stuff clean and ready to go. I just keep the lids in the box when I get to pull them out and lay them in here. And I have, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 21 jars ready to be filled with the dill brine. We have already done 3, 4, 36 jars of dill already that are packaged, already packed and have the juice in them and everything. We have 7 more going in the water bath right now, and then hopefully by the time we get done with this, those will be ready to be pulled out, and then I can show you that process as well. So I'm going to grab my brine real quick. And you want to fix your brine in a non-aluminum pan. And then most people ladle theirs out, and I'm probably not going to have enough brine to do these jars here. As a matter of fact, I know I'm not, but we will fill what we can. It'll be good enough for the demonstration. I use a measuring cup, and when you dip it down in there, sometimes your goodies, the seeds and stuff, will kind of settle to the bottom. So I always dip it and then pour a little bit up and then pour it back in there. That way it mixes it good. And then you can just wipe off the excess. And we'll start with this one here since you can see that one. And then you'll just pour your brine over it. And you only want to get to about the bottom of the little ring here, if possible, because you will be able to, once you get the brine in there, you might be able to fit a few more cucumbers in there. We'll do that again. My husband is so sick of smelling pickles, I think. But he understands it's what we do. Canning season has begun, for me anyway. Okay. And I do have a funnel here. You can use the funnel. I prefer not to. So you can see, we're just going to move on to the next one. This doesn't really take a long process. Then again, it helps that I have everything already set up. I say it doesn't take a long process. For this many, it takes a couple days. I like to use, my favorite cucumbers to use for pickles are the English pukes. Unfortunately, right now I can't get very many of those, so I am using the mini organic cucumbers. Put this back out of the way. We're going to keep on going here. English cucumbers have less seeds. You don't have to core them. And you can leave your pickles whole if you like. I don't like to make whole dills, mainly because I find that they shrink. And then your jar is only half full. And I'm a believer that you need to get your money's worth. So, when I get to the bottom, I kind of spread the little seeds around in there so that all the jars have. Oh, turn my water off over there. Okay, you're going to want to take one of these little things, and mine is stained right now because I've been doing so many pickles. And you're going to run this around the edges. And you can see as you do that, it gets the air bubbles out, and the cucumbers kind of fall more down in there, mixed in with the juice real good. And you can push some more down on in there. That's what you want. You want a packed jar. Nothing worse than getting a jar or working so hard on them and then pulling them out and seeing that you only got 2/3 of a jar when you take them out of the water bath. No fun at all. Kind of depressing, actually. All your hard work and it's only a partial jar. See, and you can see those kind of lay down in there a little better. You're supposed to leave a 1-inch head space. Like I said, I packed mine pretty full, and I've never had any issues with that. And you can tell I do a lot of pickles, so seeing that, see how they come down nice and even. Let's see what we get out of this one. This one's pretty full. I might have to drain a little bit of the juice out of it. But no, look, it's going down. Because what it is, air bubbles get trapped in there, and then that's what can cause botulism, the dreaded B word that nobody in canning likes to ever hear. So, we are going to have to do some more brine. In order, we are about 8 jars short. But I think I have one more pack, which works out perfect. Get all these scooted down in there. I'm going to turn these off so you can keep watching. I hope y'all are having a blessed day today. It's been a pretty good day here so far. Of course, after cutting up over 600 cucumbers, any day I don't have to cut up that many cucumbers is a good day, right? Go around. When I first started doing pickles, I would stick this thing right down the middle and it would poke holes in my cucumbers. Well, that's not good. Now I'm real careful to go along the sides. That one don't have no brine in it. Let's see here. And another reason I like to put the little extra bit of dill seed and dill weed in it is in case it does kind of shrink to the bottom of your mix and you don't get it evenly dispersed, which happens. Then each jar is guaranteed to have some of the seeds and stuff in it. So when you get that done, you're going to take your lids. Actually, what you really want to do, most people take a rag with a little bit of vinegar on it, and you'll wipe the rings. If you're doing bread and butter pickles or anything sweet, that is really, really necessary. I have found, though, with dill pickles, I've not really had an issue. I just wipe the jar clean. You want to put your lid on and do it finger tight. You don't want to be doing a muscle man type thing here. Okay, so I had 3 jars that were wide mouth, and then the rest are going to be small mouth. Most of my jars are ball jars. but I used so many of them during this batch of pickles that I had to break into my reserve jars, which are, some of these are old mayonnaise jars, and as long as you can get the lids to seal, you're good. I'm going to make sure that they do fit good on there. And you can water bathe 7 quarts at a time in your water bather. Okay, so that's what we got here. We got a few, we ended up with 10 more that we don't have quite enough brine for. But that's fine, because I've got to make more anyway. So, I'm going to bring you over here. And most of you are familiar with water bathing. If not, what you're going to want to do is get one of these pans here. And you're going to want to have a rack in the bottom of it, because you don't want your glass jars sitting on the very bottom of the pan, or they will bust. And that's also why you don't want your lids, oh, it's raining outside. You don't want your lids on too tight, because they do need to expand a little bit, and you don't want your jars to bust inside there either. So when this comes to a boil, which mine is not quite to a boil on this jar, this set here, and when it comes to a boil, you will time it. 10 minutes is what you water bathe your pickles for, and then after the 10 minutes, you remove the lid, and you have this lovely little tool here, and you will take and you will pick the jars up like this, and you will lift them out carefully, and then you will set them on a towel, because you don't want to set them on your counter directly. And especially, I have ceramic tile and stuff, and so I really wouldn't recommend. Maybe if you had a different type countertop, but not on ceramic tile. So these here are ones that I have already processed, and you let them set. I processed these yesterday, so they've been setting plenty. And then as they set, they will pressurize, and the lid will suck down. And you see when I touch that, there's no give in the lid. Another thing I also do, and you let them cool for 24 hours, and dill pickles get better the longer they, well, I'm not going to say the longer, but after 24, 48 hours, you really want to, that's when you want to wait and open them, because it's had more time for the cucumber to soak in the flavor and stuff. So, as you can see here, we have tons of jars. I think we ended up with over 70 jars of dill pickle. Let's see. Yeah. And I don't know how many, probably about, I think we're going to have around 30 or so of bread and butter. So it's going to be a long night of water bathing. But, you know, that's not a hard thing to do. You just put them in there and keep an eye on them and let them boil, and then take them out. And whenever I am doing multiple batches, I do change the water in between, and the reason I do that is because it's quicker than letting your water come back to temperature, because I do so many at once. My jars have kind of cooled and they're not hot or anything. If you put them in with the brine immediately, then you know, you could probably get away with it. You don't want your jars to change temperature too much. So, and here is some of the bread and butter ones I have done. I don't know if you can see those very good, but oh my goodness, these are delicious. These ones were made with the homemade brine. It was the first time I ever done the homemade brine, and I was so tickled. I tell you, it was just amazing. So anyway, I think I have told you everything. So to recap, you'll make your brine, you'll cut your cucumbers up, wash them and clean them, cut your cucumbers up to the thickness you want. Then keep them covered. A lot of people do put salt on them and let them draw any extra moisture. With the types of cucumbers I use, I have never had any problem with not doing that step. My pickles still turn out pretty crisp. And that's also, I think, because I don't do a real thin sliced pickle as well. But if you are doing a really thin sliced pickle, or if you're using a cucumber that has a lot more water in it naturally, then you will want to sprinkle some kosher salt and stuff on them. And your mixes have salt and all the stuff you need in it. You don't have to add the extra dill and the extra dill seed and dill, dill seed and dill weed. So, anyway, just cut your cucumbers up, rinse them off, keep them stored in ice water until you're ready to use them. And you can see over here, like these are the ones that I am keeping cold for now. And then whenever I get ready to use them, I will just take them out and put them in these strainers here that I have and let them drain really good. And then after they've drained, I put them back in a bowl and bring them over here and do what we done. So, I hope that wasn't too confusing. Enjoy your pickles. I hope you have a blessed day. Bye. Thank you. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell. And we'll be doing bread and butter pickles later. So, stay tuned. Bye.